All right, we're live. Here we go. Testing, testing. Today on Quality Time with Family Ties, we learn misogyny is fun and lucrative.
And in 3, 2, 1, hey everybody! Welcome to Quality Time with Family Ties. I am one of your hosts, Scott Jones. Joining as always is Paul Packler. How are you, Paul?
I'm good. We're in the penultimate episode of Season 5, folks.
Right, and for those of you who don't remember what the penultimate episode is, it's the episode preceding the final episode.
This whole podcast is a series in which Scott Jones learns the word penultimate.
Yep.
It's been a long ride, but it's, as you can see, the proof is in the pudding.
Right. I think every time we get to penultimate episode, I am more and more confident about using the word penultimate.
Guys, gals, go back to each penultimate episode for each season, and you'll see the process.
You will. And you can know because Paul makes less and less fun of me every season.
No. That's the only untrue part.
Paul, we're stuck in a time loop again.
Gary David Goldberg doesn't give a fuck.
They had some balls with this one, man.
This is the season finale. Folks, listen. We're just going to cut to the chase. This is another time warp episode where they took a shitty episode from a season before or 2 seasons before and have repurposed it.
Yeah.
But now it's the season finale. This is a 2-parter. And this is the season finale.
Which means they planned for this to be a 2-parter in season 4, and it's doesn't have a lot of meat to be a 2-parter. This is a single episode.
No, honestly, I forgot that it was a 2-parter, and so in the last 5 minutes, I was expecting the "I'm sorry for being a jerk, mom and dad. This is it's okay, blah blah blah." And when it didn't happen, it said "to be continued." I was like, "Oh my god, what else is left besides just apologizing?"
Yes, it's going to be a whole episode of just apologizing, Paul.
Yeah. Oh, God help us! It'll be an episode of the 3 of us apologizing to the listener.
Wouldn't it be funny if the final episode is them trying to do the second half of this episode in season 5, like they're older, trying to do a second half to this episode?
That is the only thing that could make me be like to really be surprised and appreciative of their efforts.
Right. You know, if you told me that they did that, I'd be like, yeah, sounds about right. I believe that.
Yeah. This is season 5, episode 28. It's My Party.
Yep. And I remember. Do you remember this episode?
Not really, but I feel like there were parts that I might have recognized.
I remembered it because I always thought as a kid, Steven with the puppets was like the funniest thing. For some reason, that really sticks in my mind.
That's shocking because nothing happens in that puppet show.
No, nothing happens. It was just his obsessiveness with the puppets and how dedicated he was to the puppets that made it funny for me.
Yeah. What was it, a police officer and just a fuzzy creature?
Yeah, I guess a sheepdog is what it looked like.
Okay. The title comes from the Leslie Gore song, right? Leslie Gore?
I think it is Leslie Gore, yes.
It's My Party and I'll Cry If I Want to. It's a good song.
Yeah, classic.
And then there's another song that looms large in this episode, which is Valley Girl by Frank Zappa.
Yes. Wait, was it Frank Zappa or his daughter, Moon?
Well, they co-wrote it together.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and she's the one doing, like, the Valley Girl stuff.
Right. And so, with the title of what we learned today, Frank Zappa was just kind of an asshole. And he was kind of the sort of asshole that I could probably be accused of being. Where it's like, hey, do you remember how smart I am? This is how smart I am. I wrote this song, you idiots. Can you appreciate it? I bet you can't. And that's his whole career. So Frank Zappa takes his 14-year-old daughter and is like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to shit on all of her friends. And so he writes a song all about all these young teenage girls living in LA at the time, and this, Valley Girl accent that we talk about was created because of this song.
Yeah.
Like the awareness that we have of it is from the song.
Right. And then it was spoofed in like tons and tons of movies, and that became like this stereotypical cool way of talking. And because of that song, it kind of was like a virus across the country. It didn't stay confined to California.
Yes, yeah, because of TV and the song's popular. It was his only top 40 hit, I think.
Yeah.
It just, it became something that now people are aware of this. And you can draw a straight line from the up talk that you have in Valley Girl speak to vocal frying, which is kind of the opposite. But it's the same thing. The Paris Hiltons and the Kardashians and, everyone judging and tone policing how teenage girls talk. And the misogyny therein was all created by this douchebag Frank Zappa.
Now, did he just write the music, or did his daughter write it?
Well, there's one. I just listened to the song for the first time in years, and there's the one verse of the song where she's talking about like getting into S&M with some guy, and she was 14 when she sang it. And I don't care. I don't care who wrote the lyrics, she or her dad. That's fucking weird to sing
That
a
is
song,
fucking weird. Yeah, at 14.
a song like that with your dad.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
I don't know.
I was curious because if it was Frank that wrote it, then it's extremely misogynistic. And I had forgotten about the S&M line. If it was Moon that wrote it, then it feels like it was more spoofy than anything else.
Right, right.
So, but regardless, let's jump into this episode because the first scene is a mind fuck. It's Jennifer looking younger with baby Andy.
Yes, yes. She's holding baby Andy, and she's saying that she's so excited for her birthday coming up.
13th birthday. Yeah. This is why I think, and it sucks that Corey's not here because I think he would have liked the fact that Brian Bosworth is not in this episode.
Yeah, that would have been a nice thing for him. But he's a jerk. He forsook us today. And so this is what happens when you don't show up, is that you don't get the fun times of not seeing Brian Bonsall.
Somehow, Paul, I think Corey's just fine with missing out of this episode.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
And then, they're getting ready for, it's Jennifer's birthday party. Steven comes in. He's very excited because he's written some new sketches for his annual puppet show that he does at her birthday.
Yeah. Now, the thing that's crazy, and especially in light of the fact of what we know of Steven and Elise in season 5 with Andy and Jennifer and Andy, that whole dynamic, is the fact that Steven is so obsessed with keeping Jennifer young, he's got a baby. If only they just took care of Andy.
Yeah, the puppets get to live on through Andy.
Yeah, the irony cannot be dismissed.
Yeah, that's true. That's a very good point, Paul. Like everything because Steven gets very pouty about Jennifer, kind of not wanting puppets at her show, and she's being very tolerant of her dad. Like, Dad loves the puppet show. Let's do the puppet show. And, he's very pouty, as we've seen Steven before.
Yeah, you know who'd be excited about a puppet show? A 4-year-old boy.
Yes! You tell Henry, I wish he was here right now. You tell Henry he gets to see a puppet show. Henry would be delighted to watch that puppet show.
Exactly. And if you told me about it, I would not be. Since I was 13, I would still be upset and cracking my gum and flipping my hair.
I'd be like, is it like Jim Henson Labyrinth type stuff?
Oh, speaking of which, I went to the Museum of the Moving Image with some friends.
How was it?
Oh, it was amazing because they just put in a Muppets Jim Henson permanent exhibit. A few years ago, they had one that was like a roving exhibit that went around the country. And now this is in Astoria, Queens, and it's just there forever. If you're in New York, you should definitely go check it out. And I took a picture of David Bowie's codpiece.
Yeah!
From Labyrinth.
Paul, this is something you and I have in common. You have a picture of you with David Bowie's codpiece. I have a picture of me and my family around the Labyrinth throne.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah, in Atlanta, if you're in Astoria, then fly to Atlanta, go to the Center of Puppetry Arts.
Yes. So what you're going to do is go on to Astoria Boulevard, take the M60 bus to LaGuardia,
right?
and then
Okay.
take a flight to Atlanta.
Right. I recommend Southwest. They have great deals right now, and then fly.
And then text Scott's parents, and they will pick you up from the airport.
Absolutely, they'd be more than happy to. They'll drive you to the Center of Puppetry Arts, where they have the whole Jim Henson history and display, and like a whole section of the museum is dedicated to all stuff Jim Henson, and they had a big labyrinth display going on.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. If only that was the puppet show we would be seeing in this episode.
Yeah, not so much. But we do get some songs, some 60s hippy dippy songs.
Yeah, Good Morning Starshine.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, Alex comes into the kitchen and saying Ellen is coming over. And this was the most excited I've been to watch the show in a long time, because we get Ellen back. It's like she's back from the dead.
Yeah, and Alex B. Keaton, for that matter.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, as we sort of been talking about how the actor's a little over it. Season 5, Michael J. Fox is pretty over Family Ties.
Yeah, I agree. He's like, I am so ready for the show to be done so I can go be a movie star.
Yes, I mean that's fine. He's on top of the world.
Rightfully so. Like I give him credit for staying with this for another 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Like,
but when we see these old episodes, Scott, don't you think you can sort of like just feel that he's not as in it?
Yeah, and I think it trickles. I think it trickles down from everywhere. I think it trickles down from Michael J. Fox. I think it definitely trickles down from the writers. Like, I just think they don't care to develop any character development, and that's going to translate to someone that's been doing this for 5 seasons, who's a really good actor. It's like, you're giving me nothing. Like, it's the same shtick Alex has been doing. In fact, it's gotten even meaner.
Right.
There's what excitement is there? There's nothing for him to tackle.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what it feels like to me. It feels like, yeah, both the writers and him have kind of gotten over this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just like it's right when Ellen walked in, it took me back like, season 4 was so much fun. I'm sure we sound more bitchy on bitchy than I think we do on season 4.
Yeah, there were not all good episodes in season 4.
But season 4 I would say was way more enjoyable than this season.
Yeah, not even a contest.
Not even a contest. So Ellen gets this nice little moment. Her and Alex are going to class. Ellen gets like a chauvinistic barb in about this women's studies that they're doing.
Yes, there was a moment where they're going to the Susan B. Anthony Library for a class on women's impact on American history. Mm-hmm. Alex makes a shitty comment of like they even did. And what's shocking is how big of a laugh the audience has when he says that.
Right. It's really
like it's obvious that they're trying to make him seem like a jerk for the joke, but the audience is like, yeah, they are stupid.
Yeah, it didn't sound like they were on the right side of that joke at all.
No, and Ellen is wearing a Mondale Ferraro T-shirt that she also gets Jennifer for her birthday, and those were the Democratic nominee and VP nominee for the Democratic Party. I just said in 1984, who lost to Ronald Reagan, who's a piece of shit. So,
as we have stated many times,
yes,
on this program,
you can never not say that enough, though.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Paul, if you're in California again, I want us to go to the Ronald Reagan Library, and I just want to get pictures of you just flipping everything off.
Yeah, I've been to the Nixon Library in Yorba twice. Really? And I have more respect for Richard Nixon, who is a war criminal and resigned from office in disgrace. I have more respect for him than I ever would for Ronald Reagan.
Wow.
I'm putting that out there.
Wow. Yeah. I just want pictures of Paul just going.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be beautiful.
Don't even get me started. We're already too far. We're already too far.
Yeah. Okay, and so then we have Jennifer's friend that we hear about all the time. Chrissy comes over. Have we ever seen Chrissy before? I'm trying to remember.
we've never seen her before, and we never see her subsequent to this episode. And so this is almost an historic episode.
It is, because for the longest time, we just hear about Jennifer going over to Chrissy's house, and we finally see Chrissy.
Honestly, I think they mentioned Chrissy in episode 1.
Oh, yeah, I think they do. Yeah, I think it's like in like the first scene of episode 1.
This is the sort of long game that Family Ties should have played with Greg and A My Name is Alex.
Yes! They wait this long to show us Chrissy, but yet are totally comfortable with throwing in Greg last minute.
Yeah. And honestly, the actor who plays Chrissy, I thought she was good, and I thought that she and Tina Yothers had good chemistry together.
I thought they were great. It was a character I wouldn't mind seeing back again. I also was confused. Is Beth Skippy's sister? Because it looked just like Skippy's sister.
I didn't have enough time. I was doing laundry. I was running around. I didn't have time to look up to see. She looks exactly like that actor who played Skippy's sister a few years ago, where she was too nerdy to hang out with Jennifer.
If it wasn't, I was like, this is a great opportunity to bring that character back.
But you know what? I'm pretty sure that in this situation, even if the actor is the same, the character is not, because Skippy ends up hitting on her, saying that he fought in World War II.
It's the weirdest thing. I was like, okay, it's not. I was like, because there was a moment where they're like, oh yeah, it's his sister. He doesn't say it, but it looks like his sister. And then he hits on her. I was like, okay, it better not be his sister.
Yeah. At some point on Twitter, we can get into a discussion of whether or not it's the same actor, but
yeah. All right. So Chrissy is talking about they are 13 now. They are in school. This is where popularity is a big thing, and they think they might have a shot of sitting at the cool girls table. And then we cut to new set, the school, and this is like straight out of a Disney show. We go to the school cafeteria. The cool girls. We pan over to the cool girls table, and the cool girls are sitting at this reserved table. There's a reserve sign, and they have like boy waiters around them, like refilling their drinks and stuff. It's like over the top cool.
This episode is just so lousy with middle-aged white guys writing what they think teenage girls are into. It's just it's just like if you've been on a drunken bender the night before, and then you're hungover at work the next day, and just alcohol is coming out of your pores. That is how lousy it is with loser old white guys trying to be like, I think my daughter's into this. Fidget spinners, right? Yeah.
Fidget, yeah.
Yeah. It's like Pogs or whatever. Meanwhile, Pogs are like, older than
dirt.
Than my girlfriend at this point.
Yeah, you make a very good point. It's very clear there's no female voice on this show, because this would be
zero.
Right, and this actually would be such an interesting, this seems like a very good thing to talk about. It's a good thing for the Jennifer character. It's a good thing to incorporate the Mallory character, but you need a female voice to kind of get to the honesty of it. There's no honesty in this. It's very spoofy, very over the top, and not genuine.
Yeah, I completely agree, Scott. And to give them credit, they at least try to, instead of having like Steven or Alex explain to her how to be cool, or they're the voice of reason, or they're the characters that she goes to for help or whatever, she does go to Mallory, who is the logical character, and the conversation that they have is not completely moronic.
No.
But what you're saying, Scott, is totally true, that it should be women talking about it where they actually have lived experience and know how to write the truth of this moment the way that these men are. It's so obvious do not.
Right. It's just like, okay, these cool girls are going to talk like this, and these girls are going to be nervous about it.
Yeah, I'm not going to pretend like just because I had a sister who was a teenage girl or whatever, or I have friends who were girls or whatever, that I would ever be like, oh, I got this. I'll just write up a thing. It's fine. And now I'll make my 50 grand for the week.
Right. Because there needs to be, like they don't justify why they're so desperate for this popularity, what it means to them and everything, there needs to be that connection there. But yeah, all the girls at this table speak in that Valley Girl way that we were talking about. They were one beat away from saying "gag me with a spoon." Like that was like the classic Valley Girl line to say. I was waiting for it.
Lots of likes, lots of for sure, lots of up talk. Okay.
Yeah, right. Everything kind of ends with like a question mark. Yeah, and so they both Chrissy and Jennifer are able to convince the popular girls to come to Jennifer's birthday.
Yeah.
And so then we cut to the Keaton household, and they are putting up lots and lots of purple decorations for Jennifer's birthday party.
I mean, everyone talks about how much of a loser the color purple is, apparently, in this episode. Like, that it's such a nerdy color. What about Prince?
That's what I'm about to say! Like,
I'm sorry, Scott, I stole your thunder.
It's okay, but I was like, wait a second, purple should be kind of a big popular color right now.
Yeah, it's 1980. Like, at the time, it would have been 85, I think.
And, yeah, so I think Purple Rain came out in 87, 86, 87?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Prince is almost at the top of his game right now.
And they're like, fuck purple. We hate purple.
Right. You know what? In 2 years, fuck you. Purple's awesome.
If Prince shows up on Family Ties where they're just like, we love you, Prince, they're so full of shit.
Yeah, exactly. Be like, fuck you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. It's Jennifer's favorite color. That's why they're decorating it. Okay, so we have this, and then Skippy comes over, completely oblivious that it's a birthday party, which was kind of strange.
Yeah. For as much as he's over, the fact that Jennifer hid her birthday from this, like, more or less friend, that's pretty telling.
And also, I was like, well, aren't you still friends with Skippy's sister? Like, shouldn't that, like, why didn't you invite my sister, Jennifer? Like, yeah. It was just a perfect opportunity to have her in this scene because we liked her so much in her episode. And then there's these two waves of guests that come over. They're all of Jennifer's, like, regular friends coming over, and then the cool girls show up, and they're all wearing, like, these silk kimono-esque shirts.
For half a second, I wanted to say that, like, you can hardly tell the difference between who the cool kids are and aren't. But yeah. I feel like the frizzy hair and the faux kimonos definitely do tell them apart.
They really wanted us to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course, the cool girls are all turned off by the party. They're turned off by all the purple decorations. And Jennifer and Chrissy are kind of freaking out because the cool kids aren't liking it. Mallory comes in to kind of try to help save the day and takes Jennifer aside and tells her how to talk. In the middle of her birthday party. Yeah. And this again is where some female writing would have been good, because this could have been a good scene of Mallory trying to help her. And it wasn't, I agree with you, it wasn't moronic, but it was all very cut and dry. Like, I feel like Mallory would have something smarter to offer her sister. As opposed to just, here's a 1, 2, 3 process of what we see our daughters do that annoy us, and then we'll just write it into Mallory saying it. Right, because Jennifer's like, well, talk like this. Right. And say it this way. And it's like, I even think Mallory would be, at her age, be smart enough to see behind that, the idiocracy of that. Right. Right. Like, okay, you're saying one of these girls like it. This is what you should do, not just talk like this. Exactly. Yeah. Is that the commercial? When does the commercial happen? I think this is a commercial because then coming up, we'll see if Jennifer takes Mallory's advice. Oh yes, when she leaves. Okay. All right. Yeah. So she comes back into the living room where the party is just a bust, right? Right, and that's when the puppet show is in full effect. So Scott, take it away. Explain this tour de force. Okay. Imagine, audience, if you will, a little black box puppet show. We have one felt puppet that looks like a policeman, and another felt puppet that looks like a shaggy dog. And the shaggy dog says, so join us again for a ride on the SS Fluffy. And the policeman says, "But be sure to bring a life jacket." And just so you know, you can tell the difference between the two because the policeman has a high voice like this, and the Shaggy Dog has a voice like this. And if you're watching, I'm actually doing the hand motions. And then they sing "Good Morning Starshine"
from the musical Hair.
Yep.
Now you sit there, listener, right now in your office, in your car, wherever you are, and you're just like, "Wow, that sounds like a mess." You are having the exact same response of all of the extras at this birthday party.
Yes. Everyone's like, "Okay," and you know, Steven's really trying to sell it. I got to give it to him.
Michael Gross does a great job, honestly.
He's really committed to this situation, so I got to give it to him. Obviously, the cool girls are like over this. They want to leave. They're rolling their eyes at everything. Elise this whole time has been, you know, kind of this middle ground between Jennifer and Steven. Like, she's like, you don't, you know, kind of insinuating, you don't have to do this. You know, it's your birthday party just because your dad wants to do this. And she kind of knows that this is not going to go over good. So she's kind of, you get the impression after the puppet show's over, let's get rid of, you know, let's keep it moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you want to take a break here? Is this a good spot?
Yeah, let's take a break.
Okay, so we'll take a break and we'll get to the anticlimactic conclusion after these words. We'll be right back. And we're back.
And the party's still going.
Whew, just a rager. A
rager.
7 p.m. and these kids are just partying it up with their RC Cola and their cheese puffs.
Yeah, if only Prince was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is that Jennifer name drops Bruce Springsteen is going to be at the party in order to try to get the cool girls to come to her birthday party, and then she makes a terrible joke that actually Bruce Epstein is going to be there, and they have more in common than you would think.
Right. Would a 13-year-old in 1985 be into Bruce Springsteen?
Oh yeah, I mean
that's Born in the USA. Yeah,
yeah, they say Born in the USA, but like, yeah, because I mean Reagan used that song for his re-election bid. That was his campaign song, and Bruce Springsteen was like, "Don't."
Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah,
yeah, that's right. That's right. So Jennifer comes down from upstairs with kind of a full-on makeover. Her hair now looks like the popular girls. She's wearing one earring like the popular girls, and she's talking with this Valley Girl accent and telling them how lame the party is and how much her parents have embarrassed her.
And here's what's crazy. She has a kimono-esque blouse on, but it's still purple, which is the color that everyone hates.
Right. She didn't change the purple stuff.
Right.
Yeah, so she's kind of winning over the popular girl crowd, and the lead girl says, "Hey, let's go to my place." And they all leave. So Jennifer bails on her own party in order to be with the
There's a
kids.
moment with Chrissy where the two of them are like sort of having an internal struggle between them of should we go, should we stay?
Right.
I'll say this. This is a two-part episode. I feel like the cracks are starting to appear in Chrissy and Jennifer's relationship.
I think you're right, Paul. I think that's we're gonna delve into that next week.
Yeah, cliffhanger, folks. Get ready.
The friendship between Jennifer and Chrissy may not last.
No.
So they all leave, and then we cut to later in the living room. Jennifer has left a note for the family, and yet felt the need to write it in a Valley Girl accent.
She wrote it in dialect, the way that Mark Twain wrote all of his voices.
Yeah. So no one else is going to really read this note except for your family. Why the dialect?
Yeah, she's reinvented herself so fully at this point that she can't break the facade even in her own mind. Even when it would help her. If she were like, "Hey guys, listen, I'm going to uh, uh, Billy Ann's party at her place. Sorry, I'll be back later. Or even not sorry. Just like, fuck you, this party sucked.
Right.
Now she's starting to sound like me. Now she sounds like an old man. Like, listen, idiots, I gotta go. The party sucked. Really, Dad, you have a child that's younger than me. Think about that for half a second, moron. Love, Paul. I memeant Jennifer.
Paul's working some stuff out through that letter right now. Why, Dad?
Why did you give me that puppet show?
Why? Yeah. Yeah, in the course of a commercial break, Jennifer has gone full Andy Kaufman and is committed to this character.
And so it's actually, I kind of want to say that it's kind of funny, the trying to read the note between Elise, Steven, and Alex, like as they're trying to get through it and everything like that. There's some funny jokes in there, right?
Yeah, it's not a bad banter back and forth with the likes and okays. It's actually it's a clever bit.
Yeah.
And it just gets overplayed when Jennifer comes back and they do the same thing again with like and okay. It's like, we've seen this, move on. And so yeah, the funny thing I also liked in this was like how much they berate Steven for the puppet show, and finally he gets so fed up he's like, well, why don't we just burn him at the stake?
That was funny. I like that.
I really like that. And so Jennifer comes back and is still in, you know, Valley Girl persona, and you know, Elise especially is upset with her and basically sends her to her room.
Right. As well she should. She's 13. She shouldn't be running off and not telling people where she's going.
Right. And regardless of the party, you know, it's a shitty thing to leave all your other friends that were there for your party.
Well, that I'm okay with. That's fine. Sometimes you got to cut people loose.
It was 50% of the party, Paul.
Yes, maybe even more. There were a lot of people there.
Right.
For Jennifer to be such a loser and have such a rager of a birthday party, something's not adding up there.
Right. There were a lot of people at this party. There were only 5, maybe 4 cool girls.
Yeah. They're
outnumbered. Like, if anything, they're a minority at this party.
Yeah.
Yeah. That does make no sense.
And yeah, and the one quick thing to say during the party is that Skippy comes over, starts trying to hit on one of the cool girls, who turns him down. Let's remember, he's about Mallory's age, which is maybe in college.
Yeah.
And this girl's 13.
And this girl's 13, yeah.
13. That was 13.
13. And that was creepy. That was creepy.
And then hits on the other girl, who's also 13.
Yeah.
And maybe the same actor who plays his sister.
Looks just like his sister, which is like, it's, yeah. They really made Skippy creepy in this episode.
Yeah. After everything we said about him having that girlfriend and what a mensch he was, that we were like, oh, we could really get behind Skippy in this episode.
Not after this. Yeah. And so Jennifer goes upstairs, and it really just ends with Alex saying, "Oh, well, let's open the presents." Credits.
Well, why would he want his kid sister's presents?
What is it? Like, there's nothing of value, really, that he could get money for.
Oh, look, a hair crimper and My Little Ponies.
Right. It makes no sense.
No.
And guys, that's where we leave it. That's where we're going to find out more about this new Jennifer next week.
Do you have any predictions? I mean, this is a hell of a, like we said earlier, there's not a lot to, like, build upon here.
Right, because the party is the crux of everything, and the party's over. The only thing that they can do is keep, like, I think it's right. I think it's going to be about her and Chrissy. I think she's going to get tired of acting like this snobby cool girl and want to break away from, you know, the cool girl pack, and it's going to, you know, affect her relationship with Chrissy.
Right. A little bit like what happens in the Patrick Dempsey Can't Buy Me Love movie.
Yeah. Which is much better than this episode.
Yeah. I feel like there's some weird parts in that. If you are listening now and intend to go rewatch it, it's a fun movie, but I think there's some stuff that you're like, oh boy, the 80s, huh?
Yeah, Carrie and I just watched Weird Science last night, and there's some very weird stuff in there.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, hopefully Corey will. Next week we're finally done with this fucking season.
I can't believe it.
Here's what's astonishing. I was thinking, it's like they get an order for 30 episodes and can't even cross the finish line. Like they had to dig up old episodes to get through it.
For your season finale? Like, this is what you're going into the summer. People are going to be like, "Oh, I can't wait to watch season 6."
Right, and you're not even doing season 5.
No, yeah.
It's so bizarre, and it's like I get I get splitting episodes and making them 2-parters. I can get that to to kind of fill your order, give you some padding. But what I can't get is pulling old episodes from seasons ago to do that, to meet that order. All right, Paul. I think we're done.
I'm excited. I can't wait till next episode because honestly, it means that we're only one more week until we get a couple weeks off.
Yes, thank God. This season has been like a trudge. Like I think we've been separated more than we've been this season. Like as far as being able to get together. Like if you look back, like it's a lot of it is just 2 of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be good. We'll get the gang all back together again, hopefully next week. We'll wrap up this season and enjoy 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
For questions and comments, be sure to email us at qualitytimewithfamilyties@gmail.com. And for updates, follow us on Twitter at QTWFT. You can follow each of us on Twitter. I'm at Follow Jones.
I'm at Paul Packler.
And Corey is at CorePep. Also, be sure to like our Facebook page. We'd like to thank our host and producer, Barbara Dillon at Fanbase Press. Fanbase Press. Fanbase Press is an online conglomerate of geek media providing its readers with daily insights into the geek pop culture spectrum. Check out everything that they do at fanbasepress.com. We also like to thank Perry Adams, who beautifully performs the theme song Without Us. Check out all of Perry Adams' music at perryadams.com. And Brian Dillon, our editor, who also is the president of Fanbase Press. And lastly, Sean Foster, Fanbase Press's graphic designer, for designing our logo. Thank you, everybody, and we will see you next week. Bye!